Here is a little bit of help on how to go about doing your research project for the species. Again, you're going to read a lot more than you'll actually put into your one page of 8.1 that's asking about the species. Let's take a look and see what you're actually supposed to talk about. You should make a summary of the wood's characteristics, where it is grown, what the environment is like, how much is grown, benefits of using this type of wood, the mechanical properties. That might be up in the wood's characteristics, but maybe down here, drawbacks of use and master format spec. Okay, so those you would see right here. And they're also on Canvas, but that's what we're going to look at. And I'm going to show you some resources, and you can read all about it. There's a lot of reading, and you can take your notes like I showed you on 6.1 and put your notes to the side and then color and highlight them. If anybody needs some help with that, let me know. But I have in a folder for you. I did some research to get you some materials for Doug fir. Now, there are other things you could look at, and if you're a landscaper, you might choose redwood for decking, but mostly we're looking at what you're going to use for walls, windows, doors, framing of a wood construction residence. So this is some information that I did. It took me about half an hour to go dig all this up off of current stuff. So let's take a look. The first one is Doug fir species information. And so, there's some of its native range right there. It's telling me where it grows. So I might be able to use that information. And there's a picture of where it grows. So that is more information. That's about its environment and where it grows. Here's the climate. It asked about the climate some. Is it wet? Is it dry? But here's actual data that you could use. Here's something about altitude of where it grows. So there's a lot of information. Associated forest cover, probably not so much, but maybe. I didn't really ask about its life history, but you might put a little bit in there about maybe how long it takes to grow and come to maturity. Seed production. Let's see, I'm just flipping through here. Sapling and pole stages. That's probably not stuff that you need. Let's see if there's any more. Damaging agents. That's probably a pretty big one. Serious damage from a variety, fungi and other things, shoestring root rot, several needle diseases. So dwarf mistletoe. So these might be interesting, and drawbacks or things that can use it. Special uses, Christmas trees. You don't need that because we're not talking about Christmas trees. We're talking about using it for building. And so there's a little bit. Here's some dimension. There it is right there. This is from Western Wood Species book, Western Wood Products. Some of the species, there it is, Doug fir, Western larch. Here are some of the other ones we talked about, hemlock and spruce pine fir. Here's some about grading, specification. So this hat looks like it's got a bunch of stuff in here. Structural joist and planks and studs. So those are the uses that we're looking for, and we know those are used as for walls. So this might have some information for you to look at. Look at this. Here's some different types of knots so that you can talk about the different grades and how they're used for wood and framing, splints and this kind of stuff. And then down here it tells you if you're using select structural for light framing, that's what most residential is, structural light framing. It has to be sound, firm, encased. Pith knots are limited to this. So this tells you about it. And I think here are some pictures of different maybe select 1 and 2 or something like that. Structural select 1 and 2 for hem fir. Select 1 and 2 for spruce pine fir, and what they look like. So these are all, this is really a cool one that gives you a little bit of information about it. Here's another general species one about Doug fir, where it grows. There it is. 2 types, British Columbia, coastal and interior. So that's of interest. Hyphenated, not a true fir. Identifiable, yeah. Oh, common applications. Here, look at this. Why it's used. Strength, primarily used building and construction. Hard, resistant to abrasion. Resistant to wear. Bridge parts, log, commercial buildings. Heavy structural purposes, glue lambs. So this is really telling you a lot of where it's used. Commercial properties, strength properties, workability. This one is really telling you a lot. Oh, here's availability right there. That's kind of cool. So that one looked like it had some information in it. And here's one from called the Wood Database. Now, you would take all this information down, even if it's repeated. If you find corroborating information in 1 or 2 or 3 sources, that really helps you know that that's good, reliable information. And none of these look like they were from people that are just trying to sell you Doug fir. So that looks okay. Ooh, look at this. This has some interesting, remember that it talked about the mechanical properties? Well, here they are. I don't know if you know what those mean, but there's some of them, kind of the tree size, where you find it. Color, this one's got a lot. The type of grain, end grain, rot resistance. There's a good thing to know about. Ooh, it is susceptible to insect attack. Moderately durable in regards to decay. So some of those specific questions that I asked, and please go to the module to find more depth to what you should be looking for. Resinous machines, well, blending effect on cut. Wow, ooh, allergies and toxicities. That's going to be good later on. Sustainability is not listed as a species of concern. It's reported as a species of least concern. Common use. So here's another one that's got a lot of good, and then it's got a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Who cares about this stuff down here? Design values. Let's see what this is all about. This tells us what those design values are. Stiffness, perpendicular to grain, ASTM standards, mechanical properties. Oh, and here's some actual numbers and what they mean. Oh, this one looks really important. If you're going to compare extreme fiber stress in bending, and you go, well, that's like the Charlie Brown teacher that goes wah 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 wah, and you have no clue what that means. I'm an engineer and I'm not positive I know what that means. I have kind of an idea. You might need to see it in plain English. So there it is. Single member stresses, stress fiber stress in bending, repetitive member, horizontal shear. Oh, this is all awesome stuff. Adjustments for conditions of use. That's really cool, but there's no numbers. But I joined, and you guys can all join this Western Woods WWPA. It's free. They just want to know who you are, and you can have all of this information. And I strongly consider, suggest that you do it, because when you go for a job interview and you can say, yes, I've got my library and it includes this, you're going to be looked on as more capable than somebody who doesn't. And here those are. There was that FB, that E, that FV, horizontal shear. Now, I wish they didn't use the term F, because for a mechanical engineer, F is force, and there's a symbol for stress. But that's okay, right? You just got to read it and figure it out. It's jargon. And look, it's different for a 2x4 than a 2x10. And we talked about this about 6 weeks ago. And you can go back and figure out why. But it has to do with being able to see the defects, to be able to see inside and know whether there's knots in there or if there are no knots. There are not knots. Anyway, so that's the type of information. If you want to do something besides Doug fir, if you want to do hem fir or larch or something like that, or something different, right? You can do that and just get in there and read. You've got many pages of reading. As I said before, what you'll do is you'll take, let's say I found some stuff that's interesting in here. Here's some latitude. Maybe I want this image. I can take a snip of that image and put it right into my portfolio off to the side, and then I'm able to use it. Or maybe I really like some of this information that says, extreme fiber stress in bending and what that is. I might take a copy of that and put it onto my Jamboard or onto my Google presentation and look at it. So if you need more help, I'll do some more of this. I'll actually, during the lecture, show you how to put these in again. But please look this over and see where this is. Again, there's a link to it that you can go to, and all of these PDFs are in one spot.